I was at CiscoLIVE a couple months ago and did some great interviews with a lot of amazing people. One of those was Carlton Dubois, and lessons learned. I learned that having really good audio so people could hear and have it clear is really important. So I met with Carlton. We had this great interview. I went back, and the audio, just the wrong mic, too much ambient noise, wasn't good. So I reached out to Carlton and I said, would you be willing to do a live interview with me online? Because I think people really want to hear the message, and if it's not really clear, it's not so good. So Carlton Dubois, welcome to the Keith Barker Networking Channel, the home of the original gangster of IT. Carlton Dubois, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I was talking with Catherine, and she met at CiscoLIVE, Catherine McNamara, and she mentioned an amazing story about this young man who was continuing to grow in his career in the world of IT. And then when I saw you and had the opportunity to chat with you, I wanted to ask you about that. So you grew up in a major metropolitan area with lots of IT opportunities everywhere, right? Is that how it went?
No, that's not how it went.
No,
not at all.
Tell me your story, Carlton.
So I grew up in a town that is that is 14 miles long. And there were very little opportunities. It's a small town, so in the middle of the best way I can describe it, it's 15 minutes from Tennessee, so it's as far south in Kentucky that you can get without actually being in Tennessee. So there was not a lot of opportunity. There was not a lot of really job opportunities outside of working in factories and stuff like that.
What I want to do is have you tell me about your first inkling or your first idea about IT. How did that start for you?
Well, it's kind of like it's always been a passion. I started, working with computers at a very young age. Just being like the guy on in the area that knew the most about computers. People would bring me their computers to fix, and it's always been a passion. And then I got into college and met one of my instructors who worked for the local telecom system. He noticed the spark that I had about networking. He was like, you're going to go far. And he kind of fed the fire and fed the passion, in a very nurturing way.
What was the first networking thing that you did with networks that you recall as an IT type of function or purpose?
That was back when let's see here, RIP was still a thing.
Routing Information Protocol, okay.
Yeah, RIP was still a thing, and but we done a lot with RIP and a lot of OSPF, so in class. So that was just where Cisco Packet Tracer was the end all be all.
I love Packet Tracer. I have used Packet Tracer. I used to volunteer to teach at Cisco Academy so that I could be affiliated with it and actually have a legal ability to use Packet Tracer. And now since then, you can just join that academy for free and get it. So for people who may be just thinking about IT and getting into networking, explain to me, what is RIP? Like rest in peace, I get that part, but what is RIP or OSPF? How does that play a part when you have multiple routers?
So it's a routing protocol. So it's like it basically, the way I describe a routing protocol is it's the path that you take to get your information where you want it to go.
How does a person start in just like, oh, this is a new thing, let me learn about it? Tell me about that process for a new person. Do you use books or videos or just go online and Google? What do you do, Carlton, to learn?
I'm a firm believer of you don't use one particular source to learn anything. So for example, when I was studying for my NA route switch, I used Udemy a lot, CBT Nuggets, and there's lab manuals through Cisco Press that you can buy doesn't matter what track you're going for, I would highly recommend those because it breaks it down to the point where you're not only reading about it, you're also doing it. I'm a firm believer of you can read about it, but until you actually do it, it's going to go through one ear and out the other.
Ah, absolutely. And then that's where Packet Tracer comes in for a lot of new people, correct?
Yes, Packet Tracer is well, now it's free. When I started, you actually had to be enrolled, but now it's free, and now it actually has a lot more features than it did back then.
So let me make sure I understand correctly. Somebody wants to learn more. There's lots of options for training. So you get some training pieces that you like. Also, possibly a book, some labs. You get Packet Tracer, so you can do hands-on practice. Carlton, Packet Tracer is like the best kept secret. I mean, people know about it, but a lot of people I talk to, they're thinking, okay, I'm going to go to eBay and buy a rack of used gear because I have to have physical gear. That's not the case when you're starting out. If somebody's on a shoestring budget, they can still start and learn and practice.
In my opinion, to be successful, success comes with sacrifice. So you have to be able to put in the extra hours to do the studying that you may not. You may work 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 or 7 to 3, and you may not have time to study and do all of that stuff. So you have to put in the extra time to be willing to understand that if this is a goal that you have and a goal that you want, then you have to make the sacrifice that I can't go out this weekend. I can't do this, I can't do that, because at the end of the day, it's like if you want something, you have to be willing to sacrifice for it. So, for instance, when I get into study mode, and I'm very obsessive when it comes to studying about anything. When I got into study mode, it was work, and then I would spend 16 hours outside of work, get 4 hours of sleep until I accomplished my goal.
Wow. Because you're committed. So if somebody was looking at you from the outside and saying, wow, why is he spending so many hours a week in studying? They don't know your internal goal of, hey, this is so important to me. I'm going to get these skills and change my life. I think a lot of people don't have that goal. And so they just I'll just watch Netflix or I'll just go out with my friends. And by putting in the extra time, my question for you, Carlton, is it worth it based on your results and how your life is? Is it worth putting in that time investing in yourself?
Yeah, I mean, there's a wise man once told me that you have to get through the funk to get to where you're going in life.
I'm sorry, one more time.
You have to get through the funk to get to where you need to be.
Gotcha. Okay.
So you're gonna have it's just like with anything. You're gonna have your ups, your downs. You're gonna have your times where you get less motivated, or you're not as motivated. And then you're gonna have the times when especially for the NP, right as it sits right now, it's 3 tests. So if you go in and you take route, for example, which tends to be the hardest test. You go in and the pass rate on it the first time is not that much. So normally people will go in, and they'll fail it, and then they'll get unmotivated. You have to be able to get through that to be able to at the way I see it is you're getting the search to not only does it increase your the financial value, your market value. It's also a pretty good accomplishment, to in yourself, because then you're like, oh well, I done this. I put in the time. It's you, and no matter what you do, there's nobody. You are your own worst enemy. Not your boss, not your friends, not time, not you are your own worst enemy. Because of the fact that if you want something bad enough, you'll get it. You're the only person that can tell yourself no. Nobody else can.
That's awesome. I remember a note from that interview, and you said, I'm paraphrasing, the only person who can stop you is yourself, and the only real opponent that you have is yourself. I love that, Carlton. So I've got a question for you, and people can benefit from your answer here as well, including me. I can benefit. And that is, what is it when that challenge comes up where you have a person has a choice, like I can study or do the thing that's going to help me long term, or I can take the easy route. Tell me about what you do at that moment, because that's the decision point in life where people can, okay, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. What is it that you say to yourself, or what do you do to keep yourself on track to do the right thing and improve yourself as far instead of taking the easy path? What do you do?
So what I do is, I think about it, and this what I do is I'll be like, okay, I set deadlines, for instance. So I set deadlines, and I'm like, if I don't meet it by this deadline, then I feel like I didn't try hard enough or anything like that. But once you hit the wall, and everybody hits the wall, I'm sure when you were studying for your IE,
Yep.
you hit a wall and you were like, man, I really don't want to study anymore. I want to go. I'm tired of studying. I want to go hang out with friends. I want to go and do this. And you gotta find that. For me, it's about balance. So like, sure, you can lock yourself in a room and spend the time studying, but you're eventually gonna hit a wall, and you're gonna need a break. So what I'll do is I'll take a break, and I may go hang out with friends for a couple of hours just to decompress, and then come back, hit the books again when my mind is recharged. I failed my ICND1. It was hard, but I had a buddy tell me during that time. He's like, look, you got to take the ups, you got to take the downs. Certifications are like life. It's a roller coaster. Sometimes you're gonna have the high ends, and sometimes you're gonna have the low ends. But either way, it's gonna be a very fun ride, and you're gonna enjoy it at the end of the day.
That is fabulous. So what I took away also from that was that when you hit a wall and you need some balance, you'll take a break. But I noticed you mentioned that you'll just take a moderate break, like a 2-hour break, have some social interaction, hang out with friends, and then go back. I think a lot of people, when they hit a wall, they just say, oh, it's the end of the world, it's over, and then they take a break that might be a day or a week, as opposed to, okay, I'm going to take this break, and then I'm going to go back and hit it again. You've been very successful in spite of the challenges that face everyone with exams and so forth. And I also believe you've been, based on our previous interview, you've been very successful in spite of maybe some peers or the world that might say, whoa, Carlton, slow down. You just take it easy. So how do you turn that attitude of people telling you, slow down, just, you don't need to get there overnight. How do you take that and turn that into fuel?
My last job I was at, I got my NA pretty quickly, and then I got my NA in security within the same year. And then I'm like, I want to go get my MP. And then I started ramping up to get my MP, and then, then once I finally got it, they were like, well, you've got the piece of paper, but you haven't been doing the work. That's the story that I kept hearing. Or, you're not, you need to slow, I was told you need to slow down, and all this other stuff. You have to take the negative and flip it into fuel in life and with everything else. There's going to be people who don't necessarily agree with any of the choices that you make, whether it be professionally, personally, friendships, anything like that. But it's all, you have to stay focused and remember that it's not about them. They're not you. It's not about them. It's about you, your goals, your aspirations, and what you want to do in life. And as long as you can keep that mindset, then the negativity will just be like, well, this is just another, what I consider a roadblock. This is just a wall that you have to, get through to get to where you're going.
That's awesome. I appreciate that feedback. So does the channel. I heard somebody many years ago talk about the 99% and the 1%. And it went something like this. They said, Keith, people spend 99% of their time thinking about themselves and 1% thinking about everybody else. And that the moral was, don't let everybody else's 1% control our 99%. Because
I've heard that too.
Yeah, we are responsible for ourselves. I am so grateful to know you. Do you ever make it to Vegas? Do you occasionally?
I am actually live. Will be in Vegas in 9 months, and I will be there.
Okay, well, when you come out, please contact me. Let's go do something fun. Now, a lot of people come to Vegas for various things, get-togethers, meetings, parties, conferences, and I don't want to interrupt anybody who's coming to Vegas for whatever it is, but I always enjoy the opportunity to reach out and meet people and maybe have a meal together. And so certainly anybody that I've gotten to know, like you, Carlton, I would like to know you better. And you've got a friend in Vegas if you ever need him.
Going back to, Catherine's, the video, during the time that people were telling me no and all this other stuff, I actually found Catherine's CCIE video. And if anyone who has not seen that, I would recommend you go watch that. But I also found her interview that she done in Barcelona, and that she and if anybody hasn't watched that, I would highly recommend that. But she said something that resonated with me, and it was, you can't train ambition. You can train technology, but you can't train ambition, dedication, and determination. It's going to get rough, but you can't lose your dedication, not only to yourself, but your goals. Because at the end of the day, new technology comes out, and new things are talked about, things are being deprecated, but, as long as you still have the will, the dedication, and the determination, no matter what you do in life, you'll get far.
Carlton, I've made some great notes based on what you shared with us in this interview, and I'm very grateful for you. May I ask, how old are you, Carlton?
I am 28.
You are 28 and unfreaking stoppable, dude. Oh,
I have only been in professional IT. This is my 4th year, I think.
Wow. And it's been a game changer for you, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, it's opened a lot of doors. I've met a lot of wonderful people. It's great. It's great because you and yourself are such an inspiration to everybody, because of the your content and the fact that you're willing to share your knowledge, you're willing to share your expertise, you're willing to help grow people. And I personally can't thank you enough for that.
You're very welcome. One of my secrets is that I play like I'm the underdog, meaning every day I wake up and I realize I got to work out today. I got to create content today. I got to make a difference today. And I don't feel like I have the luxury of sitting back and doing nothing. So that's part of my angle, I guess it is, that I just wake up every day feeling like I'm the underdog. And with technology changing, we're in the same boat, Carlton. We got to study all the time. We got to keep current. And when people want their systems to work, they come to people like you and I to make that happen. So did I get you an OG of IT shirt already? Do you have one?
Do I? Yeah, you gave
Okay.
me one at live. You gave me one of the yeah. And I actually, for anyone else out there, I actually talked to a friend of mine. I actually met her at live. She has a really good story too. She went from retired. She went from law school to trying to conquer the CCIE mountain.
Wow. And how would I spell her name so we can have people find her if they want to search for her? Do you recall?
Just a second.
Or I'll tell you what. If you text me, you have my number. If you text me, I will add that to the video as a call out.
Yeah, and I think personally she would make a good interview as well.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
Carlton, anything else that you want to share with us or with me before we close this chat? I'm so grateful to have you on.
Stay motivated, stay happy, and don't ever let anyone tell you no, because again, you, in everything that you do, you are your own worst enemy, you are your own worst opponent, and don't let yourself tell yourself no, because with enough dedication, willpower, and determination, you can do anything that you want.
All right. I believe. All right, I'm going to do a close for this video, and then let's hang on for another moment, Carlton, and we'll say goodbye to each other. So on behalf of Carlton Dubois and myself, thanks for joining us for this video. And if you haven't already, for Pete's sake, subscribe. We'd love to let you know every time there's a new video, inspiring stories, new tech, certifications that are relevant for today's IT world, and anything else that I feel or we feel might be valuable for this channel, we'll put up here. So we look forward to seeing you in the very next video. Till then, have a great, great day.